Hello friends, welcome or welcome back. My name is Whitley and today we are going to be choosing my January TBR. I have really missed doing my little nightmare themed TBR game, so that is what we are going to get back to in the new year. I have changed a few minor things, so I will go over all of the spaces, all of the tracks, and all of the consequences. Each month is going to build upon the previous month, so we are going to have like a running board throughout the entire year. And there are going to be possible consequences for not finishing my TBRs, just to give myself that little extra push to actually read the books that I am setting for myself for the month. But without further ado, let's get into the rules of the game. First, let me tell you a little bit about the game. So I am the dreamer. This is my dream board. I am fighting against these nightmares while also trying not to become one myself. Every die that lands on this board gets me closer to becoming a nightmare. So my job is to get dice on the board, but then get them removed as quickly as possible. How I'm going to do that is by reading books. If I complete the reading prompt, the dice comes off the board. So let me tell you a little bit about the dice. I am going to choose 3 dice blindly out of this bag. I'm going to keep one and roll it. Each die is a different color, and each color corresponds to a different nightmare. We have our nightmares here. Each nightmare is going to correspond to a different genre. So the blue die is the Nightmare of the Depths. This is going to be a fantasy book. The green die is the Nightmare of Temptation. That is going to be a romance book. The red die corresponds to the Nightmare of Primeval Fear. And this is, of course, going to be a horror book. And lastly, we have the yellow die, which is the Nightmare of Imprisonment. This is going to be any genre, not fantasy, romance, or horror. So now that we know what the colors and the nightmares stand for, let's get into the symbols and tracks on our board. First, we have the power symbols down at the bottom. If I roll a power symbol, I'm going to get to choose a book that I am excited about or something that has been hyped recently. Next, we have the hunt symbol. If I land on this, I'm going to have to hunt through someone's social media page and find a book that is on my TBR. If this track does end up getting filled in the actual game, you die and lose the game. So if I happen to fill this track, we are going to have to scrap the entire board, whatever is on it, and start completely over. Any books that were added to my TBR in that month get wiped out and I start again. Next, we have the exhaust symbol. If a die lands on the exhaust symbol, I have made some spinner wheels. So I'm going to spin the prompt wheel to see what prompt I'm going to have to fulfill for that colored die genre. And if this track does get filled, I'm going to have to add a book to my TBR using the nightmare prompt spinner wheel that I have also created. And lastly, we have the shadow symbol. If the die lands on a shadow symbol, I'm going to have to dredge through the shadows and pick a backlist book off my TBR. Each nightmare has its own shadow track, so if one of those shadow tracks do get filled, I'm going to have to add another book to my TBR that corresponds to the nightmare track that was filled. So for example, if the depths shadow track gets filled, I'm going to have to add another fantasy book to the TBR for that month. I know that probably sounded like a lot of information, but it is pretty simple once we get into actually playing the game. I am going to be drawing 6 dice for 6 rolls for 6 books that I'm going to be adding to my TBR. And come next month, whichever books that I do not manage to finish are going to stay on this board. Any books that I finish, I'm going to remove the die from the board. So the more books that I don't finish in my month, it is going to make that next month's TBR even harder. It's going to be even more likely that my tracks are going to get filled and I'm going to have consequences. So enough rule talk. Let's get into the rolls. Draw 1. We have red, red, green. Let's go with a red. Roll 1. We got a horror. Let's see what we get. Ooh, a power. Let's go. What a great start. The first roll was a red power. So for this, I get to choose a horror book that I am very excited about. For this, I am going with The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I have been wanting to pick this book up for months. This is a folk horror about a girl named Margot and her mother. They have lived near the woods ever since she can remember. And her mother has always taken in these strays, these wanderers, I assume. People come knocking at her door and her mother takes them in and spoils them until she devours them. But this new stray is different. A girl named Eden comes knocking at the door, and she really starts to change the family dynamics that Margot has grown accustomed to. And Margot has to confront these new feelings that she is having while also wanting so badly to escape from under her mother. I am so intrigued about this one. It sounds very like Appalachian horror, which I love. It sounds like there may be some like sapphic romantic undertones, which I am always here for. And the family drama, especially a mother and daughter drama, is right up my alley. I'm so excited. Draw 2. We have a blue, a green, and a yellow. Let's go with a blue. Next, we got a blue, which is a fantasy. And that is a backlist. Roll 2, we got a blue shadow, which means I need to choose a backlist fantasy book. For this, I am going with Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. This is one of the series that I did put on my 26 for 2026 TBR. I have been meaning to pick this up for literal years, and I am determined to make this the year that I actually get around to some of the backlist books on my TBR. This is a wintry young adult enemies to lovers fantasy romance. It is about a girl who hears the voices of gods in her head, a prince who is like the most eligible bachelor and is surrounded by assassins trying to kill him, and a monster with a wicked smile and haunted eyes. That's really all I know about this one. I know that there is a war, there is magic, there is romance, and 3 very intriguing characters that are in the center and entwined together in the center of everything. I am a little nervous about this one just because it does not have the greatest reviews, but that has never been one to stop me from at least giving a book a try. So I am excited to see what I'm gonna think of this one, especially because it has been on my TBR for so long. I also read the Shepherd King duology a few months back and really enjoyed it. That also includes a woman who like hears voices in her head. So I know that that is a trope that I really enjoy. So I am hoping that this one does that for me as well. Draw 3. We have, oh my gosh, 3 blues. Looks like we're doing a fantasy. Love it. Next, we got another fantasy. And that is another backlist. That is getting scary. Roll 3 was another backlist fantasy, and I am sticking in the same vein. I am going with Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Another book that has been on my shelf for too many years, unread. This is another young adult fantasy. This one takes place in a nation that is torn in two by this like impenetrable shadow fold realm. This shadow, this darkness is crawling with man-eating monsters. And when this young woman soldier is attacked in this darkness, in this shadow, this long dormant power inside of her awakens, allowing her to save her fellow soldier and friend's life. She is immediately whisked away to train as a member of this magical elite guard that is led by none other than our love interest, question mark, this mysterious darkling. This is such an iconic series that I am embarrassed and baffled to say that I have not read yet. So I am absolutely going to be getting to it this month. It has been so long since I've been able to like sink my teeth into a fantasy world with like political intrigue in the midst of like a battle of war, and the romance doesn't hurt at all. And I am just very excited. I'm really hoping that I like this trilogy because I do know that Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdoms is a duology that comes after this. I think it's in the same world. Don't quote me on that, but I am just very excited to get into this Grishaverse and to see what it's all about. Draw 4. We have Yellow, Yellow, Blue Let's do a yellow. Next, we got an other. Let's see what we got. A power. Let's go. Rule 4, another power. Let's go. This time it was a yellow, so it is a book that I am very excited about, or that has been hyped, of any genre other than romance, fantasy, or horror. So for this, I'm going with Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop by, I am probably going to butcher this and I am so sorry, Hwan Bo Room. Question mark, I really should have looked up how to pronounce that before doing this. I have been seeing this on quite a few people's favorite of the year lists, which has me even more excited to pick this up. This is also a translated work, which is something that I am always trying to pick up more of. It is translated from Korean, I believe. This is a slice of life, cozy story about a woman living in South Korea. She lives in Seoul, and she is really just feeling burnt out and drained. And her solution to that problem is to leave everything she has known behind. She leaves her successful job. She leaves her husband and she moves to this small town to open a bookshop. This is a book about books, which I have absolutely adored in the past. This is a book about a woman's transition into making the kind of life that she wants for herself. This honestly sounds like such a lovely, wholesome, like cozy, heartwarming hug of a book. And I thought, what a better way to ring in the new year than with a book like this. Draw 5. We have a green, and a red. We haven't got a green yet, so let's go. Next, we got a romance. Ooh, okay. We got an exhaust. I am so excited that we landed on an exhaust face. I'm so ready to try out the spinner wheel that I made. So I'll put it up on the screen here as well. I have so many reading prompts here. So since it is a green die, we are going to try to fit a romance into whatever prompt we land on. So let's see what we get. Oh, easy. So easy. Great. So person or people on the cover. I think we can do that. Roll 5 was a green exhaust. We spun our wheel and it landed on the prompt, a book with people or a person on the cover. A very easy task with a romance book. So for this, I am going with Book Lovers by Emily Henry, an author that I have really enjoyed in the past. My goal is to work through all of her work eventually. So this is the next on the list that I have to read. This is a romance that follows a literary agent named Nora and a broody editor named Charlie. Nora agrees to go on this month-long trip with her little sister, who is on a mission to make Nora see that she can be the heroine in her own story. But instead, Nora keeps running into Charlie. And this is not her first rodeo with this man. They've apparently met many times before and have never really hit it off or gotten along. But after a litany of coincidental run-ins, things start to change. Not only between Nora and Charlie and how they feel about each other, but how they view themselves. I have been an absolute sucker for Emily Henry's heartfelt and complex characters. I love the romance mixed with the real life meaningful struggle that she always includes in her books. I am just so happy to be adding this to the January TBR. And lastly, draw 6. 2 greens and a yellow. Let's do another green. And lastly, another romance. And we have a backlist. Our last roll, roll 6, was another romance, but a backlist this time. For this, I am going with After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of her earlier releases. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That was the first book I read from this author, and I immediately put this book on my TBR. So it has been on my TBR for a good like 7 or 8 years, and I just have never gotten around to it. But I am still very much looking forward to it. I am still very intrigued by this synopsis, and I'm very happy to be adding it to the TBR this month. This is a book about love, about marriage. Our couple, Lauren and Ryan, decide When their marriage is really at the precipice of ending, they decide to take a year off from each other in a final ditch effort to save the relationship. There is only one rule: they cannot contact each other. Anything else goes. I believe we mainly follow Lauren on this really journey of self-discovery. In her time away, she starts to question her ideas of monogamy and commitment and marriage itself. She questions what she really values and what she wants for herself, both for herself and in a relationship, and mostly just what love really means to her. The tagline says it is a story about a couple caught up in an old game and searching for a new road to happily ever after. This sounds like it is going to have so much freaking heart and have like really poignant conversations about relationships and love. Taylor Jenkins Reid has such a freaking beautiful way with words, especially when she is writing her characters. Her characters always feel so rich and so vivid and so real. They are always so flawed and complex, but you cannot help but root for them and absolutely fall in love with them. I cannot wait to read this one this month. What a great little stack of books, and with such a wide array of genres, which I absolutely love. I also am going to be picking up a couple of extra horrors this month because I do plan on participating in Gabby's week-long readathon, Winterween. This is a readathon where we just kind of focus on reading horror for a week because we still wish it was Halloween. That TBR isn't quite set in stone yet, so if you want to know what I will be reading for that, be sure to stick around for the vlog later this month. Thank you so much for joining me for another TBR. Let me know what you think of the changes that I've made to the game. I am obsessed with a spinner wheel, so I'm really excited to be able to incorporate that in my monthly TBR game. Let me know what you are most anticipating picking up this month, and let me know if we are accidentally buddy reading anything. Leave me the blood drop emoji down in the comments for the lamb and for Winterween if you want to let me know you were here. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately. Stay safe out there, and I will hopefully see you very soon in another video. Bye, friends.
If I forgo, then make me. You didn't think I'd be here waiting up all night, all night. I'm here to tell you something. There ain't another love that is gonna hold you down like mine.